All right, hey everybody. Today I'm joined by Christopher Sykes Popham, also known as Chris. And Chris has started his own healing app around CFS and ME called FreeMe. But first, we want to talk about Chris's whole journey of uh, CFS, ME, recovering, allowing. We were just having a really fun conversation before we even turned on the camera, and we were like, okay, we should actually start recording because we're going into really good topics just about allowing the nervous system. So I think this is going to be an epic conversation. I'm really excited to see where it takes us. And I'm happy to have you here. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, welcome. And yeah, glad to be here. I think we've used it all up, haven't we? We said everything beforehand. I got really excited, had a really animated conversation.
It happens.
And now I've got nothing.
I know. I was like, let's save some words.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find some interesting topics. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing. I didn't even hear much about your own journey as we were talking now. So let's maybe start with that. Like, yeah, how did it happen? Maybe give us a little bit of a background of just, how you got sick, what that was like. And then I always like to focus on the what worked. How did you kind of get through it? But I think it's helpful for people to have an understanding of what you did have to go through, probably.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. I think I have to go back a little while, probably, I don't know, even maybe as far back as school when to say I wasn't really interested in school at all. And then
Yeah.
afterwards went to uni. And at some point decided I wanted to join the military. And I
Okay.
think that's where my life sort of took a bit of a pivot. And I decided I wanted to join the Royal Marines and become a
Mm-hmm.
Royal Marines commando here in the UK. And it's a pretty tough selection process to get in. Like the odds are pretty small and stacked against you. But luckily, and with a lot of perseverance, I made it. And I think that was the first thing in my life where I really put a lot of effort into. And it sparked the reason I kind of give it a shout out is because it sparks this period where from going from school, from not really caring about it one bit, not really engaging, and to give myself credit, I think I was pretty dysregulated throughout most of
Mm,
childhood. And then
right,
suddenly,
right.
yeah, suddenly there's this kind of shift where I found something that I thought I could be good at. And I think
Yeah.
it starts this period of genuine achievement and things that I'm hugely grateful for. And yeah, so happy to have had in my life.
Mm,
But I also think looking back with hindsight, there's quite a lot of seeking, quite a lot of like always trying to achieve things. So I joined the Royal Marines, the odds were stacked against me. I was super happy to get in. And then I was like, what's next? Like, what do I
mm,
achieve next? Like, next
mm.
course. And I would always be trying to, when I wasn't in the Royal Marines doing stuff already like active, busy, traveling lots, I would then be skiing, scuba diving, paragliding, anything adventurous. I learned
Oh,
to
wow.
fly small planes. Like I was just like almost like a tick off these things.
Yeah.
But I think behind it somewhere, if I'm being honest, was a bit of kind of, I call it seeking. Like I think I was
Hmm.
always
Yeah, for sure.
seeking something that would give me something. Part of that was definitely related to my identity.
Hmm.
And yeah, and so I reflect on it a little bit differently now,
Well,
which is was
that's awakening right there, right? You would you were saying before, and let's get to awakening at the end, but like seeking
yeah,
and identity structures is kind of
you've
what's the
answered the
whole
question.
that's the whole thing, yeah. But yeah, yeah,
And
keep going.
that was a massive shift. Let's say it's related to the part
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
There was a part of me that then became aware when I recovered. But yeah, life back then was super busy,
Mhm.
and it was honestly it was hugely fulfilling. It was incredible. It was
Yeah, it
incredible
sounds
for me.
epic. Like, yeah.
And I don't want to take that away from me either
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
had an incredible time. I'm
yeah,
immensely grateful for it.
yeah.
And well, I mean, but somewhere along that journey, I started to notice things were just
Hmm.
slightly off. And I think I'd do a hard training session and then I'd pay a price for it. Over the next
Right.
few days, I just wouldn't quite be right. And I wouldn't be able to get stuff done. So I could still go out and do things, but I wouldn't, if I had a long to do list, like that wouldn't happen. I would sleep for 8 hours and then tell everyone I'd slept awfully and just like, yeah, and just not fully functioning, not working on all cylinders.
Yeah.
But that was really it, like that. Honestly, for my time in the military, which is 10 years, so I spent 10 years as a Royal Marines commando, and the last 3 or 4, I just got busier and busier. I was volunteering always to go away, and I was like, that's an exciting place and thing to place to go to and thing to do.
Mm.
They were demanding, like, hard. I was doing for sometimes for months on end, like 20-hour work days on operations.
Wow.
And so in some senses, my military career ended on a massive high, and I loved it. I loved it, and I loved being that kind of active, engaged. But at some point, I knew that I wanted to leave, have a life again, be able to see my friends and family. And another part of me didn't really want my whole life's identity to be about the military, and I wanted to be a bit broader and have other challenges in my life and have a bit of balance in my life. I recognized then some sort of need for balance, but I don't think it takes something to have a true like transformation. It takes MECFS, doesn't it? It takes something like that to actually really bring about some change.
Like, I had somebody on the other day, we were talking about like intuition, and like when something needs to shift, it starts with like a feather and then a slap in the face. We still don't listen, right? And it's like brick to the head. You know, that's generally what the illness is like. It's like we start to become aware that something needs to shift, but it's like often it really takes like something to really make us stop and listen. But so were you still in the military when you started to feel like things weren't right, or did you already quit?
Light symptoms, yeah. When I started to feel things weren't right, yes, I was, but I couldn't, and I didn't even think it was anything about MECFS. Didn't know anything. It's only in hindsight I look back and see those symptoms. It was when I left. I left, and then a few months afterwards, it started going. Like my health, just, I mean, I say started, like it pretty much over a period of months, it just like dropped off a cliff. Oh, wow. But what's really interesting is like the conventional measures of stress, what you would say was stress, was like nil. And if you would have come up to me then when I was getting really bad, I'd have gone, no, I'm not stressed at all. I've left the military. I'm sat at home, you know, like doing very little. My stress has completely died down. Whereas before, you know, 24/7 operations, war zones, everything like that. Stress on paper was really high.
Yeah.
But so that I find really interesting. But now when I look back, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, there were a lot of big transitions. I just left the military. I think that's a huge step for anyone to take. And you can't, it's not like something dramatic, but there is something interesting about what happens to you, your identity when you leave, and the new person you are. That's significant, and the sense of purpose that you have. I felt like I had a huge sense of purpose, and then now I was leaving and becoming a civilian and trying to create a new sense of purpose, and that for me was I was trying to set up a business. And you talked about intuition, but I was trying to set up a new business. It was a chain of gyms in London, and my intuition, my gut was saying, "This is a terrible idea."
Like, this really?
And I was like. And I didn't listen. I was like, no, this is just what it feels like to be an entrepreneur, to take risk. This is normal. I think leaving the military, that thing about the business, and it also ended a long-term relationship. And then when symptoms
came, that's a big one as well. I had a similar thing. Yeah, that's a big stressor. Yeah. So that makes. I just want to ask you a few questions. So did you leave the military? Was it more this fact that you wanted to pivot in your life, or was it because you were starting to feel like physically that it was not right for you, or it was more just like the overall shift? Okay.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with my symptoms. I mean, I did sort of start to feel this thing where it was around the period where I was starting to feel like my health feels like it's getting worse. I'm doing all these things, taking supplements, like doing, you know, trying infinite like blackout blinds and Googling sleep hygiene, nothing's working. I'm doing more and more. Say again, sorry.
It's like you start rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, like all these little things that you can try to control outside of yourself. But and like the deck chairs, they're completely the wrong thing to do. Spend your energy. But it's so normal to start there. Like I think for everyone, if we think about health, we're just like, okay, so what are all the simple things I can hit first? It's like, I feel like we have to start there. So,
we do, and also we would rather it be that pill, wouldn't we? We'd rather take a supplement. Right. We'd rather take zinc and be fully fixed than we would than go deep and actually have a transformation.
Yeah, true.
At that stage, at least.
Yeah, much less work to do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But no, I left the military entirely because I just wanted the next challenge. I left on a high. I felt great about it. Life was great, and I was probably a bit apprehensive about what was to come. But I left on massive high. And I wanted that next challenge. I was like, okay, I feel like I had a really good career in the military. I felt something I had something to be proud of. Which was something more than I felt as a kid. And then I was like, great, what's next? What else can I do? And then it was that period that it really started hitting me. And I think, it just, I mean, you've been through it, but it's horrendous, isn't it? When you're getting worse and worse and worse, you're then panicking more and more and more. But again, I wouldn't have told you I was panicking at the time. I'd have been like, no, I'm fine. But in hindsight, I was just, as your health just falls off a cliff, you're just like, you're just clutching at straws, but you are that person manically running around the deck of the Titanic. But that means Googling at 2 a.m. saying, okay, maybe it is a deficiency of something I've never heard of in my body. And you're like just firing in every direction, hoping something, or throwing things, hoping one thing will stick.
Yeah.
And of course it doesn't.
We don't realize how much stress we're causing. Like, I remember myself, I was like cutting all this stuff out of my life. Like, I dropped out of university, I entered a relationship with an ex-girlfriend, and she actually reflected something back to me at the time. Like, I was like, I can't have conversations with you because it was too emotionally taxing. But I was telling her, like, I was spending literally my entire day like at my laptop trying to read medical papers and like like you said, like Googling symptoms at 3 a.m. and it's like we're stressed, like stressing ourselves out more on like the nervous system more. And sometimes cutting out functional things as well.
You could extend that a little bit to something like pacing. I watched a video about pacing, but you can extend it to so many things in the MECFS world. Exactly, like constantly searching for the why of your symptoms, like constantly trying to work out about why your symptoms coming on is deeply unhelpful for the nervous system. It pushes you further in fight or flight. Trying to stay out of fight or flight, that's another mistake I made.
Right.
I'd heard about like fight or flight's the problem. We're stuck in fight or flight. So that's easy.
Right.
I'll look on my watch that tells me my heart rate, and I'll just stay out of fight or flight. It's like the most guaranteed way to ever keep yourself in fight or flight.
It's because like we're doing it still from fight or flight, right? So it's almost like fight or flight, or like fear is like trying to get itself out of fear in a sense. Like because I remember I love that you make that point. It was exactly the same for me. I was like I need to get out of fight or flight, but I was doing that from a place that was reinforcing it in a sense. It's like you're doing it from a stressed out place.
It's the same that you I said pacing and didn't follow it up, but if we do pacing wrong, we do it out of like fear of what comes if we don't pace. It's like, if I go over X amount of steps today, whatever, then something bad's going to happen. And that is so unhelpful. There are parts about pacing that are so unhelpful. It's not, I'm not saying, nobody's saying, like, go out and push through your limits. That's not what this is about.
No.
But it's saying that, like, a fear-based thing to alternative is not the right way either. So having rigid set limits. I mean, they're like the hallmark thing of what we faced along COVID and MECFS is that your limits change every single day. And you can either do that in a bad way and go, okay, I need to be like really careful because today I could have less in the tank than I did yesterday. Or you can say, do you know what, they change every day. So I'm just going to be relatively calm about it. I'm not going to go and run a marathon, but I'm also going to question where my limits are and gently not view them as completely set. And I'm not going to catastrophize, panic. I'm again talking to myself, in the heart of it. And I'm not going to panic if I go over some limit that I've just made up in my head, which literally is causing part of this stress. And I think there are self-fulfilling prophecies there where you tell yourself something's the case and then make it the case.
So much good shit in there. How did you start to come to these realizations? Like, that's what I'm curious about. Like, where so you said you kind of started this whole gym thing. You started to it wasn't feeling right. Your health started to fall off a cliff. Tell us a bit more about that. Like, obviously you probably started reading about MECFS, which probably spiraled things as it does for everyone. We were talking about Reddit groups before we started this call. I mean, that's a whole thing on itself,
Exactly that. I started to then think, okay, well, maybe I have MECFS. That was one part of it.
That's the that's the self, like for me is, sorry to interrupt, but like this, that's the
It's,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah,
And like it was the same for me. I was like,
yeah,
oh, I probably have this. And then you
yeah.
literally end up having it because of all the fear of having it, you know.
We actually have like some decent data on this, and there are a lot of doctors in the kind of neuroscience field that talk about this, about the importance of the label that you give it. There is no
Mm,
test. Like
mm.
I went
Yeah,
through
exactly.
endless tests with doctors and had no answers. There is no definitive test. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually decide amongst a number of different labels that you give yourself,
Exactly.
the one
Yeah.
that best fit for me. And when I was eventually sent to, fatigue and an MECFS clinic, that's the one I landed on. I think that was deeply unhelpful for me. I think
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
deeply unhelpful.
That's
Yeah,
that's half the healing in a sense, is allowing ourselves to let go of the label and then so
yeah,
that we can heal. You know, because it's
yeah.
also the problem is I'm taking us on a bit of a sidetrack here, but I think
That's
it's a
good.
good point that you're making. It's like also the problem with that kind of a label is it's baked into the label that you can't heal. Well,
Yeah.
it's getting better
Yes.
nowadays with people like Raylan
Yes.
Nagel. Like that was such a
Yeah.
an important part of my journey, was to find her and people that were
Yes.
showing me
He's
new
doing something.
information that was
Yeah.
saying it is possible to heal. But the problem, if you're looking on Reddit groups or something, is like people end up with this label and it becomes an identity. And baked into the identity is the reality that one cannot recover from this. So you're stuck in a little,
Yeah.
it's like I've given myself now a label of something that's irrecoverable from.
It's so unhelpful. And
Yeah.
again, of course, it also does the same thing we were talking about earlier. It increases fear and is not good for a nervous system. Telling your nervous system you're going to be like this for life, and you never know when it's going to come, and
Yeah.
it's going to be awful, because like
Yeah.
that's what I did to myself. I'll be like, okay, here comes another crash. You've no idea how bad it's going to be. Your overall trend is down.
Yeah.
Is this the new baseline? I'd just be panicking.
Yeah.
Underneath, it'd be raw panic, and I would get, like, the word catastrophizing sometimes I think is unhelpful, but that's what I
Mm,
was doing. I was
mm,
just
mm,
literally imagining the
mm.
worst case scenario, and that's what our brain is wired to do, isn't it? For survival
Yeah.
reasons, that's wired to do. But and when I first started recovering, I'd hear the term fear, like responding to symptoms with fear,
Mm-hmm.
but it meant nothing to me initially. I had to sort of go back and go, yeah, okay, that is what I was doing. But it took a lot
Yeah.
of openness and introspection to say, yeah, I was absolutely responding to fear. But yeah, ask me at the time, I said no.
Well, that's the problem with like um the unconscious, we could say, like, is
Yeah,
that we can't see where, like, and this is, maybe we'll get more into this, like the awakening and the meditation and the
yeah,
self-introspection. It's like we need to see what's running the show, but when it's running the show, we don't see it in a sense. So it's like the
yeah,
same, and it's the same when I work with people now. It's like what is creating our identity. Uh, it's unconscious usually, like we're not even aware of it, and then at some point, awareness starts to come online, which is what is healing. But yeah, so like that's such a true point. What you said is like when the fear is completely driving the show, we don't, and someone says, "Oh, fear is driving the show," you're not even going to know that it's true.
yeah, yes,
Well, actually, generally, what it tends to do is it makes people defensive because it's like what's creating our identity. If it gets threatened to be revealed, it's like we want to defend it. So yeah, yeah,
and I think that's why it's. I always think it's any response to these conditions is understandable. However
yeah,
people
yeah.
respond, it's understandable. It just doesn't mean it's helpful. Like it's all,
Yes, I like
yeah,
that. I like that.
yeah.
Mm.
If anyone responds with anger, that's okay. Like that's genuinely
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
going through something which has potentially taken your life as you knew it away from you,
Mm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, responding anyway is okay. But
I like
not,
that point. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's helpful.
yeah, but
Because
not the way out.
yeah, but that's what really helps, is to help people take on a different perspective, is for their
Yeah,
perspective to be understood first. Like that's a really key point that you made there, is like because everything just wants to be understood for what it is, and then it can shift into something else. So it's like
yeah,
that's how we can reach people that are maybe defensive. Is And
yeah.
again, I'm not trying to say this in a condescending way, because again, like it could come across
No,
like that to
no,
someone,
yeah,
but it's like
yeah,
meet you in your suffering and where you're
yeah.
at, and we can transform it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, I don't know about you, but I don't think I was ever like on a far end of the spectrum of like
Mm-hmm.
anger to openness. I was
Mm-hmm.
open to it, but it has
Mm-hmm.
to be the right time and place, right? You have to
Yeah, for
be
sure.
ready for these kind of things. And
Yeah.
when I was at my very lowest ebb, I actually wasn't ready. I then had
Yeah.
some influences, including we spoke about before, including something from your channel which really helped me, and I wasn't fully ready for the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
now, as I said before, it's now a technique which I have studied a lot, used a lot in my recovery, influenced part of FreeMe and the FreeMe app. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge. It's a central thing, and it would be part of any recommendation to anyone on their recovery journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready for it at the time, and that's okay, isn't it? And
Yeah.
when you hit with our message at a certain point, like it just might not be the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And same on my journey. Like yeah, before I was ready to, it's like I don't know if it's the same for you, but like what I often shared with people when I would talk about my story, or like in the earlier days of my channel, it was like I had to really, I would talk about rock bottom, and you just kind of mentioned it as well. It's like I had to really be obliterated in a sense of like
Yeah,
the ego that's like, no, I know what this is. It's not, you
yeah,
know, I can't heal the way that you're saying. It's like you have to really, for me, it was, and I'm curious to hear what it was like for you, but for me, it was a mix of, and you actually kind of made that point of like outside influences. For me, it was a mix of total rock bottom and realizing that, okay, I have to try things outside of what I already know. And
yeah,
then the influence of hearing, so like for me, it was Red and Eagle at the time, of like hearing other people that have healed or have recovered.
yeah,
I think it was the mix of those two. It's like, okay, you hit a
yeah,
rock bottom, but then you also
yeah,
need the hope, because like you hit rock bottom, and
yeah.
if there's no hope, it's not very helpful.
Do you remember a moment where you very first heard like do you remember obviously Raylan,
Yeah.
which by the way is incredible. I think she does something truly unique in that she's just gathered
Yeah.
250 people now who have recovered.
Yeah.
And the number one piece of advice, surely, to everyone is like to go and study, like go and find 200 people who've recovered and study
Yeah.
them
Yes,
and write
exactly.
down the trends. Write down the trends.
Exactly.
There's your
Exactly.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you
Exactly.
remember the exact like? Did you have any resistance? So somebody at some point has said,
Mm.
"What's going on in your brain?" or another message, related message. What's going on in your brain can affect your body.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember when you first? Did you have any resistance to that, or were you?
For sure. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
good question. I like that. So the first person in my journey was this lady. I've actually had her on my channel since, Tracy Prowse. So she was yeah, I had her a while ago, but she was kind of like my first mentor in this space. So she was working as a physiotherapist, but she
Yeah.
was very much into holistic physiotherapy, and she worked with
Okay.
a lot of people with chronic pain.
Yeah.
And she was trauma informed, and she did a lot of mindfulness and meditation. So she had all of that stuff as well. And she was the first one that was like, you can heal. And, you know, there was a lot of resistance at first. There was a lot of like, there was an initial excitement. Um,
Yeah.
uh, and then there was a lot of doubt. And this is kind of how it tends
Okay.
to play out for people. It's like you get hope, and then the
Yeah.
doubt comes in, and it's like, no, this is what has to
Yeah.
be wrong. So yeah, that was mine. Yeah.
That's incredible where you've had her back on the channel. It gives me like
Yeah.
warm feelings inside. Um, yeah, I think I was similar as well. When first when it, the first thing that kind of really laid it out that bare was an app designed for people with chronic pain called Curable, which
Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's huge. It's very similar to FreeMe, but it's specifically for people with chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, any of this approach, they're all saying the same thing. They're going to start by telling you in some way or another that your brain can influence your body, and then you're then like, okay, like, can this even be true? And you go away,
Mm.
and of course, you get examples like, oh, yeah, but when you see a burger, you salivate, or at least I do. You know, like,
Yeah.
and that's you've only seen it, you haven't started eating it yet, and you
Mm.
get goosebumps on your arm when you watch certain films or whatever. And
Mm.
you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that my brain can affect my body, but you know, there's a bit of a difference between me watching Titanic and me not being able to. You know, I used to be
Mm.
training 7 times a week, and now I can't make it to my sofa and I can't leave the house. There's a bit of a difference between goosebumps and what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I guess at some point you also you learn about the nervous system, don't you? And you
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, like,
Yeah.
can this? I started to ask myself, can this symptom be caused by a dysregulated nervous system? And that was one of the best things I ever did, because when I
Mm.
tried that test, and you actually, this is not a scientific thing, but if you
Mm.
take ChatGPT now, or you like go on Google and you say, can a dysregulated nervous system, can a dysregulated nervous system contribute to, and put the symptom, like whatever it is, brain fog, fatigue, headaches, pain, like can it contribute to that? And then write out your whole list and go through it one by one, and it comes back like yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
Mm.
you're like, okay, so maybe there's something here. And they're like, well, what controls the nervous system? And it's
Hmm.
like, well, the brain controls the
Yeah.
nervous system. And you kind of feel maybe a bit stupid, but or at least I did. And I had resistance, but it was short. And I once I did those things, and then also when I started really applying it, and I was lucky or whatever, I don't know, but I saw huge
Mm.
progress very quickly, and I don't think that's necessarily normal, but I was that was the infinite proof and evidence I needed to then pursue this, and that's when I
Yeah.
then went deeper into it to kind of finish it, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Yeah. So the first thing for you was curable, like of
That
like.
was as I said, I'd actually in my my rock bottom, I
Mhm.
had read half a mind body related book, and I'd had influences like that video from your channel that had even like helped me.
Right.
But I was then also in the panic stage. So at the same time as doing that, I was still panicking, googling my symptoms, trying thousands
Yeah.
of supplements, like
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
rigid pacing. Had this spreadsheet that listed out every single factor, like what was
Mhm.
my diet like, how much caffeine I had, trying to find the correlations.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like staring into the matrix, but getting nothing but, the
Yeah.
random Boolean symbols back and not being able to interpret anything, and all just building up this fear. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
wasn't quite ready. And for some
Yeah.
reason, when I tried it, I just was open to it. And I don't, that this is the thing.
Mm.
I was open to it, and for some reason I fully committed,
Mm.
and just everything else just slowly just I dropped by the wayside. I think it was because one of the
Did you?
huge things
Yeah. Yeah.
was fear. Like I when I
Mm.
recognized that fear was playing a role, when
Mm.
that first clicked, that okay, if I respond to my symptoms in an entirely different way, they won't actually be as bad. That actually how I respond to my symptoms can actually change them and reduce them.
Yeah.
That was so big, and so helpful that I was like, okay, then I need to then. What about what I started looking at the rest of my life and saying, hang on, like you are responding with fear in so many different ways. You're linking such weird niche stuff to, and then saying that that caused a crash 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe
It's
that's
crazy.
not true.
It's crazy.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's not true. Maybe it wasn't the pizza you had 3 days earlier when you were crashed. And it was
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah.
hang on.
Yeah.
There's this biological mechanism in our body that one day causes it 3 hours later, and what the next it's meant to cause it three days later. Like that doesn't make
Mm.
sense
Mm.
as a
Mm.
thing. So when I realized that, that helps hugely. Fear.
Yeah. I mean, we what I like to do is just like marvel at emotions and like everything in creation in a sense. And
Yeah.
because again, it's like we don't need to fight anything. Like even someone that's really stuck in
No.
fear, like what I've learned with working with lots of people, it's like again, you have to meet what's there and just like understand it. Again, that's what allows something to shift. And it's like, let's look at fear and be like, bravo, like fear.
Yeah. I see you there. I'm curious about you. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's crazy how like believable it can be. Like again, I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. It's just like how much it can confuse us and just like one of my main teachers would always say, like, have a healthy respect for the forces of delusion. So we can apply
Yeah.
that to like illness and healing and
Yeah.
like how we can delude ourselves. And it's not even us doing it, but how much like it can skew the perceptual lenses. We could put it that
Yeah.
way, of like,
I'm trying to work out how deluded I was or how unaware I was,
yeah,
and
that's a
whether they're the
better,
same thing or whether
yeah.
they're the same thing.
Well, no, that's a good point because like delusion can have a certain connotation to it that it can make it can sound harsh or judgmental.
No,
Okay,
yeah, and
it
I don't
doesn't.
even mean that at all.
Okay, okay, yeah,
I
yeah,
was definitely deluded in some senses,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then with the fear, um, I just I didn't I didn't even think about it because I guess like
Right,
yeah, of
right. Yeah,
course
yeah,
I was very unaware of my emotions in general at that point.
yeah,
Like I didn't,
yeah.
I'd never, when I first learned a few weeks later that like emotions are felt in the body, I was like, what are you on about? Like,
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
what are you on about? I've spent 10 years in the military and no one's told me about emotions.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was so baffling to me and learning to
Yeah,
feel
like
emotions in your body. But yeah, yeah. No, but
yeah.
I don't, I was definitely deluded in so many ways.
Yeah, but that's yeah. I think well, there's a good thing you made. The point you made at the end there is like whether they're the same thing, and again, it depends how people are using terminology, but like if we talk about the awakening and that kind of stuff, people, and I'm going a little bit of a tangent here, but I think it's an
No,
interesting
it's
one
good.
of like the Buddhists will talk about ignorance and delusion as the fundamental reason for any suffering at all in reality.
Yeah,
So we would say unawareness or ignorance is the same thing as delusion in the sense of, and again, I think it's helpful to clarify what we mean by delusion because certain people might think, oh, delusion means I'm a crazy person or whatever. But no, 99% of humans are deluded because they're not seeing clearly what's actually going on in
yeah,
direct experience. So,
yeah.
um,
I think
yeah,
we
if we wanted
it's
to get metaphysical about
no, it's good. It's
it.
good. One of the other, of course, hugely closely related um, fields is that of prediction, like how
Right.
we think we experience the world as it is, and we don't, do we? We experience the world
Yeah.
as we predict it to be, and as
Yeah.
we of this layer or lens we put over on top of it. And one of those lenses is prediction. So
Mm-hmm.
we're constantly just predicting, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what does this mean to me? Is it a threat? Like, what's this experience going to be like? And if we expect it to be a bad experience, like it's going to lead to bad things, we will
Mm-hmm.
experience it as such. And there are, huge amounts of research studies in so many other fields, not enough in ours, unfortunately, that show that
Mm-hmm.
predictive coding
Mm-hmm.
is, I mean, is everything. Of course, it affects everything we
Yeah.
experience. And I
Yeah.
was predicting the very worst outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and I was, not remotely. I was not experiencing reality as it was. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are,
Exactly.
I mean, again, these are understandable,
Yeah.
incredibly normal responses to what we're going through because of
Mm-hmm.
the way we are wired to exist. The people who are like us to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 10,000 years ago on the African savannah survived longer. They
Mm-hmm.
they
Exactly.
they were
Right.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
ones that, the ones that literally lived. We're here
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
when we see threat everywhere, that's a very
Yes.
normal,
Yeah.
good thing in 99% of situations that we used to have come across. The difference is
Yeah.
the world is very different, and they're not good for chronic conditions.
Yeah. Oh, bravo. I love that point. No, like just to understand how we're actually wired, as
Yes.
in a
Yes.
modern world, which is kind of crazy for the
Yeah.
primitive parts of our brain. There
Yes.
was there was a guy I haven't had him on the show yet, but he wrote a book. He's quite well published. His name's Dawson Church. He writes about kind of more spiritual, but and the bridge between meditation and neuroscience and all of that. And I read a
Mm.
portion of his new book because he was going to come on the show, and he was making that exact point. He was like, if you look evolutionarily, I don't know the word there, but at
I'll help you out
it's fine.
because
They know
I can't say it evolutionarily.
that probably, yeah, yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, they know what I mean. But basically, the human or like the primitive human that was it kind of gave like a thought experiment that was happy and joyful, like as you said, in the African savannas, and the one that was just like present and enjoying life. And then there's so let's call her X and let's call the other one Y. And X is all happy and joyful, and Y is a complete catastrophizer and worst case scenario. And there's a tiger there, and there's a this there, and she would more likely have survived, and her genes would more likely have been passed on as a result of that. So it's like our brains are, in essence, or the survival brain. And the thing is, like, we don't need the survival brain in the same way anymore, but we have
Yes.
that coding or
Yeah.
that wiring, which is again like helpful to understand
Yeah.
that it served its
Yeah.
purpose, but it's not very useful
No.
in a world like this.
Exactly. It's so unhelpful in a world where we are generally pretty safe.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
unhelpful. The final part, which I think I found really useful, was to link that background into what I was going through as my worst. It was like this story that really helped me, where the same thing about how we perceive and whether we're seeing the tiger and hearing the tiger in the bush, or whether we're just chilled out.
Mm.
Is this story of two brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's two brothers walking down the street, and they come around the corner and they see this massive dog, and
Right.
one of the brothers goes straight into fight or flight mode. He's like
Mm.
locking eyes with this thing. He's just working out whether he's going to have to wrestle it on the floor or whether he's just legs it. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, he was bitten as a kid by a dog, and
Uh,
he's holding that memory and he's responding in that way. And the other
mm.
brother walks around the corner and just is like, oh, I love dogs. And like this guy,
Oh
the
yeah.
opposite, like this is a made up story, but if we get to emotionally connected
I'm enjoying it.
to but like yeah, this guy's like his Instagram feed is just like cute puppies, cute puppies. But
Yeah.
it's like I found that so useful because I was like, okay, same genetics, same
Mm,
person essentially walking around the street corner, coming across this experience, but because of their predictive coding, because of everything else, their body, their physiology responded entirely differently. It's like,
mm,
okay,
mm.
like one person is going straight into fight or flight mode. Their like adrenaline, these are physical changes. Their heart rate's changing. Funny enough, all the same systems. Their energy has suddenly, like suddenly ramped up. Their digestion
Yeah.
has stopped. All the same
Yeah.
areas of the body that affect us with these conditions. And it's all just because of how we process the same situation. One brain is going, I see threat here, and one brain is saying,
Mm,
I feel safe here and loved, and and getting a calm, neutral response to the nervous system.
yeah.
That I don't know. That I want to say that because that helped me so much to kind of
Mm, mm,
um, to explain what was going on, to help
mm,
validate it, because it's a physical, physiological response that we're getting. It's not just
mm,
something wishy-washy in our brain. And yeah, back then that really helped me to understand it and validate my experience, because it
yeah.
is part of it that when you with these conditions, you also want to feel validated, don't you? It
Yeah.
is linked to your identity. I went from
Mm,
being in the military where, and I feel actually quite grateful because I think I had it particularly easy. My friends knew that and were like, okay, Chris used to be in the military. We know that he is reasonably fit, could run 200 meters without stopping, and now like he can't do anything. Like then
yeah.
there's something interesting going on, and I
Mm,
feel I feel a lot of things for people who don't have those situations to fall back on, and explanations like that that did validate and say, no, what you're experiencing is 100% real, physical
mhm, mhm.
changes in your body as a result
Yeah.
of what's going on in your brain.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point to make. Uh, yeah, like you said, to help people feel validated that what they're going through is real. So yeah, I think we'll start to go more into so what can people do to heal, and what are, like you said, these techniques, like what are this technique that you apply now and that you incorporate in your app and that I talk about. But yeah, like I think as a starting point is to say, like when we're talking about healing and these techniques, it doesn't mean that the physical experience that one is going through is not real. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very real, but it's like, but the good news is, even though it's real, we can still fix it, or like
yeah,
even it can heal.
100%.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly the message, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um,
um also wanted to ask you a question. So
yeah, just go for it.
FreeMe is a mixture of approaches, and I think
Mm-hmm.
generally in all these approaches and in all these people, when I recovered, I was like, I was like opening a door and I couldn't believe it. I was like, saying I found Raylan's channel after I recovered, though. That was the
All
difference.
right, interesting.
And I was like, hang on, it's not just like two people that have
Yeah,
recovered. It's hundreds and like thousands of people I've now
yeah,
read the experiences of. And I had no idea. I was like,
yeah.
it kind of blew me away. And then, yeah, you study them and realize that 90% have the same elements, like we're doing the
Mm,
same things. And so FreeMe is literally just trying to gather all of those things that we all accept work,
mm-hmm.
and there's never going to be complete acceptance, but they're all trying to do the same things and put them in an app and make them super easy.
Mm,
So FreeMe has brain training, which is what I wanted to ask you about. Has like education, I believe education, and again, quite accepted, isn't it? But education is literally part of the journey in
yeah,
learning about these things, understanding how the nervous system works,
yeah.
understanding what we talked about. It has writing exercises and it has meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that some people would say that there's almost maybe a conflict between brain training and
Mm-hmm.
maybe your meditation and
Mm-hmm.
maybe like awakening, for example. There might be a bit of a conflict there.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. Good question. It comes up a lot. Actually, I get it from people a lot. So, first thing, I'll get to that now, but I also wanted to say that the point actually came up for me earlier when I was talking with you, that I like because I don't do this so much, but I like the importance of educating people, because
Yeah,
it was interesting you asking me these questions, because like it feels so long ago now. Like nowadays, I'm just like, let's get
yeah,
straight into what is someone struggling to feel it, and then it's like it shifts something in the body. So like I just like kind of if some, because that's the type of people that are drawn to me, is people that are in that
Yes.
space
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
But like obviously every people need different things at different stages, and I think the
Yeah.
education stage is a very important stage for someone to get to with the deeper stuff. So I often skip that, but on my channel it's just because it's like I like to get to the meat of it. But
Yeah.
I like through talking with you, it made me remember how
Yeah.
what a role that plays, right? To get someone
Yeah.
from here to there, you kind of need to meet them with some education on like what's going on
Yeah.
with the nervous system and all of that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that point. Like that's yeah, like
Really good one. I think
yeah,
also, I mean, I actually don't really like the term brain training that much, but I think it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
it maybe it's an exciting term that some people do. And so
yes,
I think that's why it's part of it is education. It isn't actually that much on top of education. It's
yeah,
understanding, which
yeah,
in itself, the conversation we've just had and the
yeah,
knowledge, if you truly believed it, would lessen your fear, which
yes,
would calm
exactly,
your nervous system, which would reduce your symptoms.
yes,
And
exactly,
I agree. If you came in with none of that and you came straight to me
yeah,
um, with allowing every part of your experience, with awakening, with meditation, I would be like, okay, cool, but why? But I would have no, but I agree 1,000% that it's the way forward and it's the thing
yeah,
to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
I might just need some convincing about why we would be doing it. But as you say,
yeah.
I can see from your channel, people are they're already at least half the way there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Like different people will work with different people at different stages. I'm
mm,
more of the late stage guy.
mm.
But
Come in for the glory, come in for the glory right at the end.
yeah, yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah,
no,
that's
it's
actually
like
good. Genuinely, that's a really good way of putting it. I think FreeMe is literally just like it is the starting block. Like you
yes,
can start
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
Or
yeah. I like.
also, yeah, like another point is I also get people that nothing has worked for. It's also like people that
Mm,
have they've tried this, they've tried the brain retraining, they've tried this, but there's like so
yeah,
much that needs to be met with like deep presence to like see
yeah,
what's there. And it's like some people that are very stuck that also, but they have to have a sense of openness to kind of not be put off, like you said, by like
yeah,
why is what Kyle's the stuff about awakening and meditation. What does that have to do with anything? But it's often people who kind of have a mix of both paths where they like tried meditation and then they got ill because that opens up a lot in the nervous
yes,
system
yes,
itself.
yeah, yeah,
Or the other way around, they started meditating because they got ill. But
yeah,
I'll come back to the question that you actually asked me, which was like, what about brain retraining and meditation or allowing or
yeah,
awakening? And what I would say, I understand the question because I get a lot from people, but I would say total allowance is brain retraining in the sense of we're reconditioning how we respond to things, but it's just like I think where people get stuck, and it's a nuance, and I guess this is what I like to focus on in the work that I do with people, is like the subtlest things that make people stuck. And it's always about trying to fix something. So brain retraining, again, and it might have a certain role to play for certain people at a certain time, but it's like people can get stuck in it if they're coming too much from I need to fix my fear, I
yeah,
need to fix my thoughts, I need to fix my
yeah,
symptoms. Um,
yeah,
so like then I like to unwind that with like, but the total allowing is still brain retraining. It's like everything is brain
yeah,
retraining in a sense,
yeah,
but also there's like certain, when we talk about brain retraining, we could be talking about certain ways of doing it. And again, I think everybody will use the tools that they need at the right time. But if we're looking at the
yes,
broadest possible sense, I would say like pure total allowance and just being okay with what is, we're also reconditioning everything, the mind, the body, the nervous system around how to respond to this. So
yeah.
that would be my
And
answer. Yeah.
it's a good one. It's a good one, and it's one I agree with. I don't see personally see any conflict either. I agree with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But I understand where the conflict, like
Yeah.
question arises for
And
people.
another
Yeah.
place it comes from is when people, for example, they think some brain training is telling them to ignore their symptoms. And I think
Mm-hmm.
again, it's
Yeah.
nuanced. It's
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
tough one, and it's not. The message isn't to like gaslight yourself at all. It's that like
Yeah.
constant thought and mental chatter
Yes.
about symptoms that you're unaware of that often
Yes.
involves catastrophization
Yes.
is unhelpful. And again, what's a solution to that? Being present.
Yeah.
And so there's no, if you take if you take that, okay, well, I don't want to be in this constant like ruminating spiral that I personally experience, and I don't want to be in that. Then it's like, what can I do? Okay, well, I can refocus on the present moment and actually, or
Yeah.
I can focus directly on the symptoms, but through a lens of safety, and say,
Yes,
literally
exactly.
sit there with them. Something I first learned from you. Literally sit
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with them and say, and just actually focus on them and be like,
Hmm.
okay, these are unpleasant. They're not nice, but
Hmm.
I'm going to sit there and I'm going to observe them,
Yeah.
and I'm going to remind myself that they're safe. They're
Yeah.
horrible, but they're safe. I'm happy to
Exactly.
experience them, and
Hmm.
I don't know about that, but like I'm going to allow them and
Yeah.
allow them
Yeah.
to be there, and I make space for them
Yeah.
and view them in a different way. And so again, I think it's like it's nuanced, isn't it? It is
Yes.
nuanced, but I don't think there's any. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that yeah, it makes me want to make the point of just like, um, yeah, because I get that question from people as well. Is it's like, so should I avoid my symptoms? Like, I think that's what people get stuck with, like from the brain retraining, from certain approaches to brain retraining.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and yeah, I think you hit it on the head there, which is like, come to what you, because it's already here, right? So it's not like we
yeah,
making anything new happen. It's like these symptoms are already here. We're just living up here, which is actually kind of tensing up the body more because
yeah,
everything in the body is also just crying out to be felt, right? So it's uncomfortable at first because we get so distant from our bodily experience, but it's like it's already here. This is what I like to tell people. It's already there. So just almost like soften into it. Um, because what happens is I know people have like a fear of like if I go too much into it, I'm never going to come out of it. I'm going to like, but that's just more fear. That's just
yeah,
more
yeah.
mental noise, and it's okay. But still, just hear the mental noise, and it's not like we're like forcing into something. It's like again, I always like to give this idea of like you have a tight fist and just melt into it a little bit. Like what's in your body?
Like that wording of
Yeah,
crying out to be felt.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
it because then when you do actually feel them, you do
Mhm.
begin to release them. Like if you
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
make full space to them, that's a
Yes,
better way of.
yes.
They're less likely to want to hang around for that long.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's key. Because like things do release, but like the best space to come from is uh can I just be with what's here? Can I
Yeah,
literally just be? It's already here, and this is what's key as well, is that there's already actually, and this might sound confusing for people's minds, but there's already actually space. The mind thinks like I need to create, this is more on the awakening side of things, but the mind thinks like I
yeah,
need to create the space to feel these things. But it's like just and you can do that. You can like go into your body and just imagine the symptom or wherever it is and just see what if this had a little bit more space to move? Like, what if I could
mm,
go there and just
mm,
allow it to, not forcing anything. It's not like I have to release it. It's like, no, what if these symptoms are completely innocent and they're just like, it's like a little dog that's been, like,
yeah,
this is an image that just comes to mind. A little dog that's been like trapped in this like tiny little cage. And
yeah,
obviously it's going to bark louder and louder and louder. Like that's what they're
yeah,
doing. It's going to bark louder and louder and louder. And it's just
yeah,
like showing that
yeah,
dog, no, you actually, the cage, you can come out of your
yeah,
cage. There's
yeah,
space. And it's innocent as well, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that allowing in general
Yeah.
is one of the most, to give you a compliment. I think it's huge. I think it's an incredible thing that you're teaching on this channel, and I think
Mm, mm.
it's so good for any chronic condition, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
MECFS and long COVID as well. If you don't have any resistance to your symptoms, if you do allow them exactly as you say to be in your body, and you say you are fully allowed here, you can stay here as long as you want,
Mm,
and you
mm.
stop fighting them, you are. I like to bring these back around to the nervous system, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the nervous system's like, okay, yeah, cool, fine. Like I'm no longer fighting them. They're not an enemy. I don't feel under threat. I'm not
Yeah.
about to die.
Yeah.
It's not saying you don't want to make progress. It's not saying you don't want to recover, but it's
Hmm.
saying here in this moment, I allow you. I allow every
Yes.
part of my present experience.
Yeah.
That's really powerful and something you do, yeah, really well.
Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. Uh,
What's the difference between allowance and acceptance?
yeah, it's a great.
Sorry, I don't have I don't have an answer for you. I'm
No,
just
I love these questions. I like to reflect on these things myself. And I shifted. It's funny. I actually shifted. And Sam, do you know Sam Miller?
yeah,
From
yeah, yeah. I do. Yeah, through
she's
meditation work.
Yeah, she was with the Mindful Gardener. I don't know if you know his
Oh no,
channel.
sorry, I was thinking of somebody else. I was thinking of
Oh,
somebody else. I was thinking of who's
Sam
the person from the Waking Up app?
Sam Harris. Yeah, yeah. No.
Sam Miller. But I also know Sam Miller from the Mindful Gardener. The other part,
Yes.
there's two of them, aren't there? Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. No, so the reason she comes to mind is because she's someone else who I've had on the channel, and she like really talks about the total allowing. Like we
yeah,
both use the allowing
yeah,
word a lot. And
yeah,
yeah, so the difference between allowing and accepting, and it's like I used to talk about acceptance a lot more, but I just like to, it might sound weird, but I like to feel into like the energy of a word, or like what does this word feel like, and what does that word feel like,
ah,
and because like that's all like the connotations we have around the word, and what it like
yeah,
the subtext of the word. And acceptance feels a lot more, it's something that you actually don't want. It's like you have to accept your
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
I don't know, when I say acceptance, it just has a little bit more of a heaviness to it, right?
yeah,
And when I say allowing, it feels a lot softer. It feels like
yeah,
you're allowed to be here. It's like having someone
yeah,
come over to your house, and it's like, I accept that you're here, or it's like, I'm going to allow you in. It's like kind of
yeah. I like
a
it. I like it.
so no,
Yeah,
but I like that question, because I did even just feel into myself, just in the way that I was talking about it. I was like, allowing just sounds like more open than accepting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
The third thing I had in this sort of bracket is just applying this to our symptoms when they come on and when they're bad.
yeah, yeah.
I mentioned earlier, but one of your first things that always sticks with me is that video where I mean, this is now several years ago, so I can't remember exactly. I can't remember what you called it. I now call it like sitting with symptoms.
Right.
So it's where I'd make it a deliberate practice, I guess, firstly. So I would
Mm-hmm.
go and sit with my symptoms for 10 minutes at a time, and I'm almost like meditating them. Bring my attention back round to the symptom through a lens of safety. I'm allowing it to be there. I'm reminding myself that it's safe. And so I'm
Yeah.
just literally applying everything we spoke about to that. Is there anything you were there? Now I need to dig out your original video, and that's what I've taken from it. And then several years later, regurgitating it back to you. But is there
Mm-hmm.
anything you would add to that for anyone like still suffering?
Mm. Yeah, like, so to go back to that video and maybe say it in a different way, or like, because something comes to
Yeah,
mind. Well, yeah,
or would you, or if I said any of it, did anything that I said, you were like, no, I wouldn't do it like that, or
yeah. Well, I like that. What I would, the way because again, like, our understanding of this becomes more and more nuanced over time, and what the way I like to talk about it now is that safety is already here. Like, this is a really
okay,
that's a really helpful starting point, because it's like, if we're trying to create safety in the nervous system, we're operating from the belief that I'm currently not safe, which again, it's
yeah,
understandable why we feel that way. But the
yeah,
way, like, if I'm in my groups and when I'm working with people, the way I guide it now is, it's like, it might not feel like you're really safe, but you are. So let's just
yeah,
feel into this fact that the feeling of feeling unsafe is allowed as well. It's not even
yeah,
like we need to get from
okay.
unsafe to safe. That's just what came to mind when you said that. It's just like,
Yeah, okay,
um,
that's good to know. I like it as well. I
yeah,
I, I think you're right.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just not sure whether I would have, in my darkest ever, it would have been too much for my tiny brain. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
think you're
yeah,
100% right.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
I it takes that it's another layer to it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and I think you're right. Yeah, if you're talking about it in that way, then you're talking about it from a place of fear, aren't you? It's not,
Mhm.
again, which is not helpful.
Yeah.
That's useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like, it's understandable why we operate. Like, and it's a good orientation to try to get from unsafe to safe, but it's like people can still get stuck in the, because like I would, right? I would, like, when I first started meditating, I was like, I need to calm my nervous system. It's like, even the whole idea of like needing to regulate the nervous system. It's like, yeah, it's helpful, but I just like people, like, and this is what I was saying. Like, a lot of the people that end up with me are the ones that have gotten so stuck
Yeah,
from everything, and then I'm like,
yeah,
cool, it's fine. We just
yeah,
allow what's here now.
yeah, yeah. Which in a way is a simpler approach.
Yeah,
It's a simpler
exactly.
approach, and it's
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a pure approach as well. And then
yeah.
different people need
But
different
this
things.
is this
I
is the
can,
thing. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, this is just where I find myself in this space. But like, that's the realization I got when I was talking to you earlier. I was like, but someone needs to be educating people on the nervous system as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like we have
yeah,
our different roles to play, Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we know this now. We've we're lucky with obviously the internet and thousands of stories now
Yeah.
out there. We can see that. We can see loads of people
Hmm.
who have done like 3 programs or whatever, and
Mm.
then like weren't fully there, and then they did
Yeah.
this one little thing and it changed. And they
Mm.
so many of them talk about I didn't understand this part. I wasn't ready to accept this part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we know that there's not one single approach that works for
Yeah.
every.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah. And
but I think your approach is so good, because it's broad and it's encompassing, and it doesn't,
mm,
I don't know how to put it. Yeah, it does, allowing it in its very simplest form, allowing literally every part of your experience reduces your
mhm.
stress to zero,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
which will work, which will work.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the
Yeah,
key is like, I think, and again, I think we end up where we are because of like what our own journeys were like. And I was ready, and this is again, this is where I would start to talk about the awakening side of things as well, where we go through what we go through because of the things we need to play out later on in life as well. It's like I
yeah,
needed to get to the space where I could, not need, but it's like it all kind of plays out how it needs to. And for me, I really personally like had this like crazy brain, and I was like, okay, anything that I say can kind of be misinterpreted by the mind to create more fear.
yeah,
So it's like I guess I really got to understand the dynamics through my mind being like that, of like,
yeah,
no, everything has to be allowed, like absolutely
yeah,
everything. Because if
yes,
I say it in a way, and I learned this through doing guided meditations and all that, I was like, if I say it in a way that implies that there's still room for something that's not meant to be happening, the mind can fixate on that. So I guess that's
yeah,
kind of why I kept to
yeah,
that point where it's like, oh, then like everything, and then the mind itself can just start to relax, and then the nervous system can
yeah,
start to relax because it's like,
yeah.
everything's even my dysregulated nervous system. I can have a dysregulated nervous system. Oh, phew, I don't need to,
I don't
right?
need to change anything. Yeah,
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 exactly. And then essentially,
um,
the downstream effects is the nervous system becomes more regulated and all of that. But it's like starting from the fundamental premise that everything's already okay, and then it can start to reflect in the body. Yeah.
do you think that lots of us who had these conditions have similar brains?
Mm, that's a good question. Uh,
Because I guess in some ways it could be controversial to say it.
what do you
Um,
think?
I believe they do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe I see. I mean, I just had too many of these conversations with people like you who have recovered and people who are suffering with
Mm-hmm.
them, to not think there's similarities, or not see
Mm,
similarities in personality and the way people's brains work, and the way people's
yeah.
brains have adapted to their conditions as well.
Mm,
And I mean, we also have studies that back it up as well. We also have studies that show in those personality traits. And the first thing about all of the personality traits, I'm linking in personality traits with way people's brains work here for
yeah, yeah.
simplicity. Um, the first thing is they're all positive traits valued by society. They're all positive things, but they have
Mm,
unhelpful parts. I'm linking in, obviously, yeah, like I said, like stuff like unhealthy perfectionism that I really
yeah,
saw
yeah.
in myself, overachieving, people pleasing,
Mm,
to also the way our brains, maybe I would identify as at times having like an overthinking brain, especially beforehand.
mm. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so I think they do. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I would say in general, yes, but I think I've also gotten people, having worked with quite a few people now, from all sorts of different,
yes,
um,
yeah,
like there's a general trend, I would say, but actually what I really
agreed.
liked what you said was the point that it's mostly traits that are like, it shows that it's more of a societal issue, right? It's like
Yeah,
these,
yeah,
this kind of, again, this like boiling pot that we're in the world
yeah,
nowadays with kind of everything that's going on. It's no wonder people end up with these kinds of things. And it's like,
yeah,
um, yeah, so I think that's key, is almost it's like this kind of external boiling pot that we're all in, and then it's like, okay, so more pressure, so push the nervous system harder, achieve more. It's definitely shifting, and it obviously depends on like the ecosystems or the bubbles that you're in, because like I now hang out with a lot of meditative crowds and have conversations in that space, and the world looks so different,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
100%. Yeah, when I was surrounded by like hundreds of people my age, all living on a random camp, completely separate from society, and everyone was
Mm,
just all about how do I optimize every part of my health, fitness, performance? How do I
right.
achieve the
Yeah.
next goal?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not a healthy.
Yeah.
It was great in some ways. It was great. It was good fun, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoyed boozing most nights. But like, it's not
Yeah.
healthy. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
good in all ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
when you change that, it's going to
yeah.
bring some changes to how you think and operate.
Yeah. Like your external environment.
Can
Yeah.
I ask you, and I don't know if it's an annoying question, but like, can you explain awakening to me? And I think I have a sort of definition, although please don't ask me back. But
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
you explain in as simply as you can to somebody who like is maybe early on in their journey and they're not
Yeah.
in maybe like and assuming like no knowledge? Is
Yes.
that to an annoying question?
No, I love these kind of questions. Like I'm
Okay,
always with the
okay,
channel, I'm also always trying to think of like I'm saying the same thing all the time. So I love it like when someone gives a bit of a probing question to like feel into like, yeah, like makes me think of it.
because I think it confused me for a long time,
Yeah, and I
and I
yeah,
still don't feel fully 100% on it. So
yeah. No, let's get into that. Firstly, I just wanted to finish the previous point. I would say, yeah, in general, I do think like people with more of a um anxious wiring and just
yeah,
like uh more even like more mental types. I mean, the reason I'm like I wasn't so sure is because like I guess anybody can end up in a state like that given the right like
yeah,
circumstances, life stresses and life challenges in your nervous system. And I think this is what I've seen is like people around them die and like lots of traumatic things
yeah,
happen and then they end up there
yeah.
as well. But in general, for sure, I think it's like often the achiever types, often the um achiever. Like that was for me as well. It's like push, 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 push.
And that trauma you spoke of essentially wires people is more likely than not to
it,
wire people into
exactly.
those personality
Exactly. So
traits.
that's the thing. That's why for me it's
Yeah,
like, is it a personality type or is it just conditions based
yeah,
from a young age? Like someone just has a
yeah,
really tough upbringing. The nervous system is going to be like this throughout life, as opposed to someone who's given a really safe. But even something like for me, I had a pretty good upbringing, like just like parents and a nice town and this and that. And yet still just because of conditions kind of ended up with the whole long
yeah.
COVID thing. So it's
And that's
interesting. It's hard to like generalize, I
that's the final
suppose.
thing that can obviously happen, can't it? I mean, literally the wiring from the response to the condition. You know,
Yeah,
when you come
exactly.
against something which means you think your life's
Yeah,
over,
yeah,
then yeah, you're going to probably rewire your brain to be a bit hyper vigilant and to be anxious.
yes, exactly.
And you don't. Again, I anxious was the word I only almost like learned afterwards. But
Yeah, yeah,
anxiety is worry, and I was
yeah,
worrying a lot about
yeah,
my symptoms.
exactly.
I was doing it
Yeah,
excessively and to a very extreme degree, and entirely unaware of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like
So
that.
that the third thing could give you that personality trait, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And one thing that I have noticed is also generally, and I didn't realize this about myself initially, but it's generally more sensitive types, like people that are kind of more, and we don't realize this when we're growing up. This is kind of what I help people to realize. A lot of the times we feel other people's like slightly more empathic people that, and
I'll
I
put
can,
myself in the bucket.
yeah, and I can feel that like talking to you. It's like when I say something, I can feel like an empathic response. Like you can kind of feel what I'm saying. That's probably the biggest actually broad marker that I and especially the people that I work with is sensitive
Really?
types, people that are sensitive. And but the thing is, we also don't realize. Like I wouldn't, if you'd asked me when I was in university before I went on this whole journey, if I was sensitive, I would have taken that offensively.
Yeah,
As like
yeah,
a young male,
yeah,
because again, it's
yeah.
conditioning that I'm not allowed to be sensitive. Um,
No,
but
no.
but I realized that about myself later on, and that's also partly what I can help people with. So I just wanted to circle back to that. I think that's um
That's a
yeah,
really nice point. I
yeah,
am, and part of it is this. I don't know. It's something we haven't said yet, but and I would almost guarantee you're the same.
mm,
But I am incredibly grateful now on the other side,
yeah,
having had this experience, to have had this experience. And one of the parts I'm most grateful for is allowing emotions and recognizing
Mm,
and becoming aware of the things you've just spoken about. It's the most
yeah,
joyous, incredible thing that's ever happened in my life,
yeah,
sparked by
yeah,
something that's the most horrible, savage, and brutal thing to ever happen in my life. Even after my previous experiences, it was the worst by far thing to ever
yeah,
happen to me, and brought about the best thing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's that kind of thing, allowing me as a person,
yeah,
allowing my emotions, accepting who I am as a person,
yeah,
has
yeah,
reduced internal conflict, got rid of my symptoms, and
yeah,
made me 10 times more grateful for life in general.
yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll get to the awakening question now, but this was a nice little segue. Um, uh, yeah, I think especially for men, like you often need something like this to get in touch with that more feminine feeling side.
Yeah.
It's like I work with other people in meditation groups in very like spiritual spaces, and it's like like I don't know. That's what most of the men in the group like. They're not coming from um, illness. They're just suffering in life, like because of the way
Yeah.
their mind is, and they're on a meditative path. And most of the guys, and again, obviously, I'm generalizing here, but we all have wirings, um, and just conditioning. It's like conditioning that we get from being a male in society. Like most of the guys are just learning how to feel. you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
obviously,
Literally.
yeah. Everyone, I don't want to like disregard women that because we all get this conditioning as well. But it's interesting, and it's interesting. Um, I tend to get a lot more women that come to kind of my groups and channels. I think because it's the more like feeling based. It's not the like rational, intellectual. Um,
I think women
yeah,
are more open to it. I think women actually have
yeah,
it harder overall. We know that with the numbers.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
But yeah, there may be the one thing that men do have worse. I think there may be an increased negative perception of showing emotion.
yes,
Remember
exactly.
coming across the beliefs about emotion scale, and it's a questionnaire that asks you loads of questions about emotions, and like one of them is just it says, if I show my emotions in front of others, they will think I'm weaker for it, something like that. And you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
go
yeah,
through this list of questions, and you're just like,
yeah,
and you just like after you're like check, 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 check. And
yeah,
yeah, so we are
yeah,
societally programmed. If you show your
yeah,
emotions, it's a sign of weakness. And that's
yeah, exactly.
definitely, yeah, what I
Yeah.
was taught in the military. You just
Well, that's yeah,
any
that's
emotion.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking when you were talking about your background. Like that's a
Yeah.
very masculine oriented background, like military
Yeah.
structure, discipline, you know,
Yeah.
hardness,
Yeah.
that kind of a background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just sort of it was
Yeah.
just you were just expected to be cool, calm, and collected, I guess, most of the
Yes.
time. And it's not like in some ways it's very different, I think, to the stereotypes, but I think that's one where it sort of
Mm,
holds true. And you go through things that are just miserable. I don't know, literally like a really long walk with super heavy weight on your back, and you just kind of
mm,
you're just sucking up pain. And because you are all in that
mm,
experience together, you like making light and making funny jokes about it is 100% accepted and encouraged, and that's great.
mm,
But kind of actually being allowing I'm gonna say it like the shitness of it, like how really
mm,
horrible that experience
mm.
is not really allowed and
Yeah.
encouraged, and that's brilliant. If you want a soldier, that's really good. Those are all
Yes.
survival mechanisms that are
Yeah.
meant to help you get through that really
Yeah.
crap situation.
Yeah.
But the problem is then it's if it then shapes your whole personality. You're meant to
Mm,
employ these to get you through the traumatic period and then revert
mm.
to a normal brain. We
Yeah.
don't live in society. We then don't go back to a place where we then talk about emotions on the weekends and things. So
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And it's not looking at it from the holistic place of the individual that's going through it. Like it's designed for, like you said, how to create a good soldier. Obviously, like
yeah,
we're getting more conscious and everything. I think if we survive long enough in 50, 100 years, whatever, hopefully we won't need armies and those kinds of things,
yeah,
where who knows.
yeah,
But everything should become more holistic, like and
yeah.
integrating, even in these spaces. But that's a whole different topic we could get into. Um, but yeah, I think just looking at our conditions and all of that. But also, yeah, with the men and women thing, just for anybody watching, like it's I never like to make too many distinctions because it's like anybody can have any conditioning, like whatever body they're in and all of that. It's just looking at like general
100%. Yeah,
trends of
yeah,
like what we notice. Um,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
there are definitely people that break those trends, aren't there?
exactly. There's always going to be, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I never want to leave somebody out in anything that I say. Um,
No,
that
no.
Yeah.
these conditions don't really discriminate that much, do they?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's get to that question that you asked, because that was a good one.
We're still
About
half an hour later. We'll answer the question.
it's in the back of my mind. I was just like, again, there was lots of lovely little avenues that we were going down, but
Yeah.
I like the question. So awakening, yeah. Let me feel into that. Well, I like to revert back to a little bit, like my main teacher on this topic was Angelo DeLulo. I don't know if you came across his content
I
at
know
all.
the name.
So
Yeah, but no, I don't.
yeah, he was just like, he's a meditation kind of awakening teacher. So his
Yeah.
whole thing is teaching about this topic, and it's actually where I learned most of the things about allowing. Like this is why I just completely interweave the two, because he kind of actually had the missing pieces that I didn't have after doing some brain retraining courses, where it was like, oh, okay, like, you know, work on all that shit, but I still was struggling with certain things. And I mean, there's different ways to talk about it. I would say it's like it's letting the identity that we think we are dissolve. I don't talk about, maybe in the past I would have given a different answer, but for me, it's a lot more about letting go of like our ideas of how things are supposed to be, ideas of who we're supposed to be, like letting that fall away and see that what we thought we were is not what we actually are, in a sense. So like we kind of go into all these spaces in life, and then, you know, like for you it's like I become a military man, and I'm this and I'm that. And for me it's like, okay, I'm, you know, I'm Kyle, I'm a male, I'm this age, I was doing this, now I'm sick, now I'm that, like this. So awakening is addressing the actual identity structure itself, like that which kind of makes us take on identities. And when we take on an identity, it's limiting, in that if I'm this, I'm not that. And that's also why we have conflict in the world, because like that's why I hate to make distinctions. It's like, I'm a male and she's a female, and like of course there's genetic differences and all of that, but for me awakening is seeing that everything arises from the same space, that we're actually, if we strip away, it's basically, if we strip away everything that I think I am and everything that you think you are, it's all thoughts, and there's actually just kind of this, we could say this
well, we then, without all of that, are we all then seeing, we are actually then going to experience things as they are?
Yes, exactly. It's like it's a stripping away of our own perceptual filters on reality, of like, that's what it is. And it's like, but what is it actually? And it's the same, like I just nowadays I just, well, I mix between the two, but like just to focus that on the healing space, it's like we could go into a symptom and say, what is that if it doesn't have the labeled symptom? Right. So it's like, okay, that's my pain in my chest. What are we actually referencing? When we say pain in the chest, that's all words, right? Pain in the chest. What's beneath that? And if you take this deep enough with anything, like then something fundamentally can shift for someone, in the sense of like, you realize like, oh my goodness, like I actually don't know what anything is. Like at the deepest level, like if I keep on going into like, what is this pain? Like the raw experience of that is completely beyond words. And that's seeing things as they are, in a sense of like that there's actually no, and we can go, it goes a lot deeper, like all different realizations and insights and these kinds of things. But yeah, for me, it comes down to like letting go, and just going into like, what is this experience, not what is saying this experience to me. But there's different ways to answer the question, I think.
I think it is still a confusing question, and I am that's useful, genuinely useful, thank you. I do still find, I find both the question and the answer confusing, even though every aspect of it and every explanation I've had still leads me to think that it is highly conducive and helpful for recovery and healing. It is they are all methods which, if achieved, are useful for removing all like resistant stress to everything, which is good for the nervous system and heals. So I think
what would you, I'm curious from your perspective, what would you say awakening is? If you want to answer the question, you don't have to.
I'll try, and you tell me what you think. But before you said that, I would say that that it is stepping back and realizing you're not you're not that thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the awareness of,
Mm-hmm.
it's the person like watching it. And are
Yeah.
you awakened when you are no longer the thought? You're recognizing the stream of consciousness and that they are just thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
not the experience.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
probably,
Exactly.
would you accept my answer?
I like that answer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. It's like,
Not,
I don't like to give like a general thing because it's like everybody is also going to talk about this slightly differently. And we're
yeah,
actually generally talking about the same thing. Like this is also the problem of
yeah,
reifying awakening as a thing itself. Is
yeah,
it's just yeah. But so what? Yeah, like the so we can take it even deeper, and we don't have to go into this now, but just like that's like probably one of the first big shifts is just to see that like everything that I thought I was just a thought. You know, like
yeah,
anything that the mind can produce is just a thought. But
yeah,
before awakening, we're taking it to be us. It's that kind of awareness that it's a thought arising rather than it's me
yeah,
thinking the thought. Like that
yeah,
shift, that's what's really key. And it sounds like you have that insight yourself of like that I'm not my thoughts. But like to
yeah,
really and
yeah,
that but that can just deepen and deepen until like we just keep
yeah.
seeing like even though I'm
There's so many
noticing
layers to that onion, isn't there? There's so
yeah,
many, we've
exactly.
spoken about it before, but there's so many different layers. Like even
Yeah.
in my meditation, there's a big shift when before I'd be sitting there, I thought, be relatively present and you're observing kind of what is, and you're like, oh, that was a honk of a horn outside. And then
Yeah.
you're like, hang on,
Yes.
stop. You're like, I don't need to see it. I don't need to apply that level of analysis, that thought, oh, there is a car. And then I'm visualizing the car going down
Yeah.
the street and I'm like, okay, there's a honk. That's like a thing of like a horn of a car, but all those concepts. And you'd be like, just
Mm-hmm.
actually trying to experience a more pure form of what is without layered in
Yes.
and wrapped in all these concepts and helpful
Yeah.
things which don't necessarily add anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like what we tend to notice after that is that even the one that's noticing the thoughts is just a thought in itself. So like
Okay.
this is when things start to go deeper and it can be a little bit destabilizing for the mind. But
Yeah.
it's like there can be like these big dropping aways where it's like, okay, so obviously I'm hearing something and there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff on top of what I'm hearing. That's not actually what I'm hearing. That's the analysis of what I'm hearing. But then it's kind of like you said, you get curious about this awareness, right? And once we start to notice that everything is thought, we can say, well, what on earth is making it at all possible to be aware of anything at all in this
Yeah.
moment? And that's something we can investigate in like inquiry or meditation, where it's like,
Yeah.
so that's a thought, so that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a sound, whatever.
Yeah.
What on earth is this awareness? And we're not looking for an answer, right? Like
Yes. Yeah.
even the idea of awareness or me, like this is like going more into the awakening. It's like, well, what is this thing that I'm taking to be me? Like this me that's sitting here meditating and not again like so that's what that first shift is actually the most important because it's like we almost can't start to investigate that because we're just going to be wrapped up in the thoughts. So it's like if we ask
Yeah.
the question of who am I, it's like
Yeah.
I'm Chris, I'm Kyle, it's all of that.
Yeah.
But it's like once we have that awareness of thoughts, then it can be like,
Yeah.
so what is the awareness, like the consciousness? Like
Yeah.
how do I even know I'm awake right now and
Yeah.
perceiving, So those are the kind of deeper
It's
investigations. Yeah.
it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole which I think which if like I believe it when you if or I think progress down that line is really a good thing. Then I think rarely there's also a thing that can come with it, which can be unhelpful, which you see occasionally in people, where it's another thing of seeking. So I think if I did this wrong, I would then be like, I will be happy when I'm awakened.
Mm-hmm.
Which of course, like I will be healed when I'm awakened. And I think you need to go about it in the right way, or it's useful. You can do this the wrong and right way. And if it's another form of seeking, it could be unhelpful.
Yeah, well, the key, and like I talk about healing and awakening interchangeably. It's like it's seeing what's already here is what's key. Because so that's what tends to happen. It's the same mechanism that plays out in like the healing world. Because I kind of work with people from both spaces. So it's kind of people that have been seeking awakening, the people that have been seeking healing. And it's the same thing. It's like you're already safe, you're already healed now. Let's just allow it to reveal itself. You're already awake. You're already the consciousness that's perceiving everything. That's untouched by everything as well. But I do want to say one thing because this is a nuance. It's like And it's a cool point that you bring up because, and sorry, now I'm really diving into all the awakening
No,
stuff.
it's good.
You opened the door for me.
It's good. I'm happy to.
Okay, cool. But the seeking thing, right? So you get some people that teach this awakening very directly. So they'll just be like,
Yeah.
stop seeking. There's nothing for you to realize. Like you're as awake as anybody, because what you're looking for is the awareness that's looking through your eyes right now, that's speaking through my mouth right now. It's like, it's not anywhere else. You don't have to go and climb a mountain to do it. So that's like a teaching in its own right, to point people back to like, that's right here, right now, that is not anywhere else. And yet, like, seeking can almost become something that gets a bit of a bad rap, that it's like, but seeking is also what it's like. We have to have the right relationship with seeking, but seeking is like, sometimes exactly what leads someone to this kind of realization is like, you have to seek the shit out of anything that you want. And that's actually why I loved like kind of your journey before you got ill. It's like you were just going after what you wanted, you know, or in a sense of like kind of living that life of like, you want to do this, you want to do that. And it's like that often eventually kind of brings us to a deeper space where we go more inward. So I love authentic seeking for anyone, you know. It's like, let your seeking seek, and you'll eventually come back here, you know.
allow your seeking at the same time of
Yes.
recognizing what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
We answered the question.
There we go. Good question. Bit of a roundabout answer.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else? Sorry, like this turned a bit more of you interviewing me. But yeah, do you have anything that you want to share with people about healing, about maybe about your app a bit, or just anything that comes to mind that you feel like you want to get across to people a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't write anything down, and I don't have any list of anything. I mean, we've covered loads on like what helped me, and it sounds like it's very similar. I do think there is a point. There are certain things that we just know are helpful, and you might need these things in different orders. But reacting to your symptoms in a helpful way is always gonna be a good thing, and is going to reduce them. You can change the way you react to your symptoms to physically change the symptoms in your body and your experience of them. That's huge.
Yeah.
We know, and all of these things are linked to, you know, allowing and accepting. They are all conducive. They're all aligned. They're all that we can do these in the same time. We know that emotional work helps. We know that emotional suppression work doesn't help. We know there's tons of science that shows the bad effects of emotional suppression. And so we know those things are huge. And I don't think there's any conflict between brain training, changing the way we respond to everything, and allowing and accepting. It's all trying to do the same thing, and you come at it from different angles. It doesn't matter. And you asked about FreeMe. FreeMe is literally designed to put all of that, like all the different approaches that you can just come on anytime and do these sessions, and it will outline the things we've spoken about. So it will educate you about the nervous system, what's actually going on behind it, how it reacts and how it works. It will then start talking to you about different approaches you can take to respond to your symptoms in a way that will change calm your nervous system, regulate it, and give it no need to produce symptoms. And there's meditation work on there, and it's probably not going to be as deep as your channel. I would use FreeMe alongside your channel, but you will see some really good, useful meditations, all specifically for MECFS and long COVID, which is the whole of what FreeMe is about. And it's absolutely born out of my experiences, but I can't say it's entirely my work. Instead what we try to do is just like gather everything, all the accepted, like effective techniques that when you study hundreds of recovered people, that you see those trends. Like, what are all these things people are doing? And let's just put them into one place in one app. And we're just curious about like what we can do as well. So I have mixed feelings on AI, and yet we have produced like the world's first AI chatbot. It's trained on this stuff. So you can ask it questions. Like you can literally say, you do a session, then you're like, oh yeah, but what about this? Like, what about my situation? How do I apply it? And to have something that's mind body trained and trained on the neuroscience and stuff behind it is pretty cool, because
it's better than asking those questions on like a Reddit forum.
Yes. Yes. Or Google or Reddit forums. It's
Yeah, so no,
exactly that. It solves that
yeah,
problem.
yeah. That's the first thing that came to mind when you said that. I was like,
Yeah.
well, people, I get this from people all the time. I'm like, just stop putting all those questions onto Reddit or
Don't.
So it's good. It
Yeah.
gives a space where that can go,
Yeah.
right? It's like we have these
There's
questions, and I
so much
like that.
misinformation.
Yeah, and it's like it's like a safe. The word that comes to mind is like a safe parameter to ask those questions where you're not going to get all
Yeah.
this misinformation that's going to worsen.
Yeah.
So that's I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you ask those questions, you get fear responding, or you're going to have hundreds of
Yes.
people telling you the recovery is impossible, even though
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not true and is a
yeah,
complete myth. You're going to get told fear-based responses. Don't do anything. Whatever you do, don't do this. Don't do this. All these
mm.
things that just now link it back to the nervous system. Talking to you as if you don't know this stuff, but like
No,
link it
it's
back
good
to
stuff too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
link it back to everything we've said about the nervous system, and
Mm.
it's like like if you do this, you're going to be housebound for years or whatever, or you're going to be bedbound for ages. The
Mm-hmm.
whole narrative, of course, it's again so understandable that people want, and I again talking to myself a few years ago, wanted community, wanted other people who understood what I was
Yeah,
going through,
yeah,
but it's not helpful for healing. And if you
yeah,
want the positive side, then that's what we've tried to build.
yeah. No, I love that. I think that's I think keep going with the AI. Like that sounds very
Yeah, like it
important in a sense. Yeah,
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 we know there are really shit uses. We know that when I'm
yeah,
making images of my cat with different hats on, that's not helpful and that's
yeah.
not doing good things for the planet.
Maybe
And I'm going to stop doing that.
maybe it lightens the mood, which can be helpful sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, that's thank you. Um, but then I think they're really good uses. Like it is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a inherently
exactly.
good or bad thing. And I think if we're
Yeah.
doing it for that kind of thing, it's really good. There's
Mm.
so much we can do as well. I mean,
Yeah, for
I'm a
sure.
bit of a hidden nerd, and there's
Yeah.
exciting things we're working on. I don't know. There's if you take a program of 100 lessons and then you ask you a few questions and reorders the whole program, giving you the stuff that you need. We've spoken so much about
Right.
everyone's at a different place and time, but assessing where someone is in their journey and saying, okay, you're here in your journey, you're open to these kind of
Mm.
things, and you actually
Mm.
need these things, and you over here, you're actually a bit different. You're not open to these, but you are. I don't know. And being able to serve up personalized content would be huge to
Yeah.
truly it's truly starting to learn about you. So already like the AI we have already picks up all the memories about you, but the specific things you can always turn it off in the settings as well for people who like their privacy. But
Yes.
you like the specific things like so as you're chatting to it, it's like making little observations about you in a
Mm-hmm.
non-scary way using your own language. And then when it's then chatting to you, it's that like using that to then start to
Yes. Yeah.
like okay, well I know that what you told me, you think you might be quite a perfectionist, whatever, so maybe you link this in with this thing, I don't know, and it
Yeah.
can
Yeah. Yeah.
actually learn about you and make it useful. So that's pretty cool
Mm.
and pretty exciting and a good use of AI.
Yeah, I love that. Like I think there's a lot of potential in that space as well.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll come out
yeah.
with my own awakening bot.
You're going to do it, right? We've agreed it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that wasn't on record, but Chris and I were talking about that beforehand.
That's it. You're committed.
Okay, you're gonna hold me to it. I love it. I need
Definitely.
that a little bit of fire under my ass sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes we
yeah.
have too much of it.
True. Good point. That's where we end up with the illness sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So what people can just download it on the App Store, FreeMe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, type of
Mm.
FreeMe, all one word, into the App Store, Play Store, or go to freemehealth.com.
Yeah. And
And
can I
yeah,
share? I liked what you were telling me before about like if people, pay for the app or is there a free trial or whatever, but you were also telling me about your
yeah,
like full uh like if people
refund.
don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, if people don't like it, they can
It's
go and if they don't like it, you'll give them their money back, which I think is awesome. I love that.
I like
Yeah,
doing it that way. It makes
yeah,
me feel good about it. I mean, I just like to make it super simple. If it's helpful,
yeah.
so you go on, it's completely free for the first few lessons, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
pay for a subscription. But
Mm-hmm.
you do that, you need to sign up through the website to get it. Apple and Google restrict it, but then sign up through the website, pay through the website, and then
Yeah,
we just make it so simple. If you find it helpful,
yeah,
if you don't put it this way, if you don't find it helpful, you just email us and we'll give you every penny back after any length of
yes,
time, like no questions asked, and
yeah,
just make it easy and simple that way.
yeah. Yes. Maybe I think it
Yeah,
would actually be nice to include this a little bit in the conversation as people that are working in this space as a career, that like there's a lot, just for the audience, I'm saying, if anybody, there's a lot of beliefs in the MECFS community and all these spaces that like someone like Chris or me should just offer everything for free. And it's beautiful. I love it. And I'm also trying to find my own models with money. But I just wanted to address that point that like, if this is what you want to spend all your time and or not even all, but like put energy and money into creating these kind of things, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with charging money for it. And getting paid for your services. We were talking, so Chris and I were having a whole conversation about this before, but I thought, why not include it in the conversation, just because it's something that I see so many people that end up, I see it on Red and Eagle's comments on some of her videos where it's like, oh, she's great, but she has something that she charges money for. So it's like, well, sure, if she can make money from this, she can put more time and energy, and why should she not make money from it?
How do I want to survive for the rest of my life? I want to be helping people in this field.
Yes, exactly.
And just every penny that people give us FreeMe, we're going to spend on trying to reach more people and making FreeMe better. I feel very, in some sense, I feel incredibly calm and good about it, or happy about it. In another sense, it's the same thing that made me create that refund guarantee. I hate that side of it, but the reality is, I want to spend my money and dedicate my working life to helping people.
And take care of yourself. We're not expecting you to live on the streets.
In the same way that a doctor does. But I don't have a 5-year degree, but what I can do is go and find the best stuff in the whole field, pull it together in one place, and make it incredibly easy. What's my part to play in this? That's what I maybe you ask yourself the same question. But when I recovered, you can't ignore what you went through, your experience. It's probably the most profound thing in your life. I think I'm lucky and privileged to experience quite a lot in my life, but the most profound thing is having what I thought was my life taken away from me and then given back to me. And it was huge. And most people, there's a lot of people who then turn around and work in the field. And I'm so very glad and grateful they do, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're one of them. And you're one of the people that help.
Thank you.
I hope that makes you feel, does it make you feel awkward? But
I love it. I love hearing that, because like I'd seen, as I was telling you, but just for the audience, like that you'd reached out to me. I saw you were doing work in a space that you'd been on Red and Eagle, and then you told me like one of my videos was super helpful for you early on, and I was just like, it's always a surprise to me. Like I never know who sees my work or who doesn't. So it's like, it's really cool to hear. I'm glad to hear that. But I just want to circle back, because I really like the point that you made about when you made it with me as well, about being a doctor. And like no one goes to the doctor and expects the doctor to not charge for their work. So it's like this whole idea that people shouldn't make money from helping heal other people. I understand that everyone's in difficult financial circumstances and all of that, but I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to make this point, because we were discussing it before, and of like so many people get so much shit online that work in this space, and it's like it's like you could go back to the military and you wouldn't be able to help, like to make your living if that's what you wanted to do, and you wouldn't be able to help people. So if you want to,
I think we can get a sense of people. You can get a sense of people, and if it's coming from the right place and you want to spend your life helping people, then there can't, in my eyes, there's not much more of an admirable thing to do.
Exactly. So no, I think that's a good point. Like if you really don't like Chris's app, he'll give you a full refund, but I think you should let him keep the money.
No, thank you. It's annoying that Apple, and initially we put it out there, and Apple and Google, they restrict you and don't allow refunds after a certain amount of time.
So really?
I literally built this web-based portal, and you need to subscribe through that to get that thing, but that means we can do it 5 years later.
Oh wow! So you put all the effort into that. Amazing.
Effort. But it's worth it, and it allows you to, when business and how you go about it aligns with who you are. Then
that's the thing. Otherwise, I agree with that. I played around myself a bit with how do you kind of make a career out of what I'm doing, and it's like the key is that you find a way that aligns with your heart, and you can still support it. Like for me, this was the reflection I came back to. I played around with different things, and I was like, when I just find what feels most true, from my side, then it's the best.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
I'll put a link to FreeMe in the description, and have a look. And yeah, is there anything else?
No, thanks, Carl. I really appreciate it. It's uh yeah, I mean, already got a good sense from your channel, but it's nice chatting. It
Yeah,
was a really fun
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, no, it's been really great. I've really enjoyed this. I haven't actually had a conversation purely more on the kind of chronic illness for a
Yeah.
while. It's been more the awakening stuff that I've been diving into. It's actually been quite nice to kind of touch base with this again, and yeah, just kind of connect with like yeah, what people are going through as well. Like I think for me the conversation was a good reminder. Like I even forget what I went through, of like
Yeah. I
those
was going to
early.
say, like, is it good to go back there in a nice way to
Yes, yeah.
from
I
a
think
kinder, better place?
yeah, exactly. And also from a perspective of seeing the mindsets that people can still be in. Because again, like
Yeah.
I just focus on what's here, but like just talking with you about, the educating the mind on the nervous system, and it's like all those kind of things I kind of forgot about, because it's like you use something and then you let it go. Or this has kind of been my
Yeah.
approach. It's like you find the tool, you let it go, and you can go to like a more all-encompassing tool or something like that. But it's been a nice um yeah, journey back
Thanks.
back
Yeah.
around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you
Chris.
very much.